So if you've got a scarf or anything you can tie around your hips, do so. It just helps you to feel where your hips are and what's moving. I'm just going to teach 2 basic belly dance movements today, which we're then going to try sticking together to make kind of a choreography. Fingers crossed. Or the start of one. So, to begin with, going to work on basic belly dance posture. I need to come forwards a little bit to show you this because my floor is actually on a slope, and if I'm back there you won't be able to see any of it. So you want your feet, if I say hip width apart, everyone tends to do this. Just feel where your hips are. You want your feet to be under there. Okay, facing forward and parallel. There they are. Legs slightly bent, spine straight, chest lifted, head floating up to the ceiling, shoulders down. And we're just going to start by learning a hip drop. Now, hip drop is the most basic belly dance movement there is, and you've probably done it without thinking when you're listening to music. Just drop, 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 drop. Everyone does this. There's music playing, you're bored, you're standing around. Think of that bit at, I don't know, not at the start, partway through, I forgot the name of the film. Has lots of men taking their clothes off, the full Monty, that one, where they're all standing in a line in the doll queue or wherever they are. And they eventually dance out of the door. Right before they dance out of the door, they all start doing this. That's all we're doing, is lifting the hip and dropping it. Yes, I wittered. It's hard teaching a class to a small square of metal when you have no practice doing it. But I shall get through this somehow. So, easiest way to learn the hip drop, I'm going to turn sideways so you can see it. Put all your weight on your back leg if you're standing sideways like I am. The leg that's not going to be dropping. And that one wants to be relaxed. You do not want a stiff leg. You want both your legs to be a little bit bent and relaxed. All your weight is here. This leg is now free to do anything. And you can, in fact, hip drop like this, up in the air. We might do a little bit of that later on, but for now, foot on the ground, just on the toe or the ball of the foot, wherever's comfortable. And you're going to lift your hip. And you'll notice when you lift your hip, you want to straighten this leg a little bit. Don't worry about straightening it. Instead, let this hip on this side go down a little, almost like hip drop. You need to lift it before you drop it. So, and lift, and then just put it back where it was. Let it go. Lift it up, and let it go. And up, and down, and up, and down, and up, and down, and up, and down. And when we've done some of those, we turn around, and guess what? We lift this leg up, which means that this hip comes down, and up, and down, and up, and down, and up, and down, and up, and down. You want to make sure you're not dropping back when you drop. This is a move, but it's a much more mannered move. It's not what we're doing here. This you might do if you were doing a row of hip drops going forward, middle, back, which you totally can. But for now, we're just going to go up and down. And we go up, and we go down, and we go up, and we go down, and we go up, and you'll never guess what? We go down. Up, and up, and up, and up, which translates to down, and down, and down, and down. A hip lift, that's the up, is also a movement. What makes it a hip drop is the focus on the down. So if I'm doing a drop, I am going, it's starting up, drop and drop and drop and drop. If I'm doing a lift, I am going lift and lift and lift and lift. You emphasize the drop, you don't emphasize the and, but it's there. Okay, so last tip, make sure your other leg is not stiff. Your body is lifted up from the leg, but not solid, because if you try and do hip drops with a completely solid body, you're doing this. And it doesn't look very good. So, belly dance posture. I'm going to turn a little bit to the side so we've got an angle here. Relaxed legs, floating body. We're going to do 8 on this side, then change to that side. And we're going and drop 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 and drop. Again on this side, a little faster. Drop and drop and drop and drop, pad, drop, pad, drop, pad, drop, pad, drop. And back to the first side, and drop 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 and drop. If that is as much as you can manage, stick to doing that. If you've danced before, or if you just want something more to add to this, we can add a release into this. Now a release is just the same as a drop, except as you drop, you let your foot slide forward and turn it out so the front of the foot is showing, just because that looks nicer. It's not a kick, it's not drop and kick, it is just drop and release. It lets the hip go a little bit lower and creates a different line with the body. And if you're up to it, we're going to add some of these into our choreography later. If you aren't, just keep dropping and dropping. So drop hip, so drop release or drop and drop. And we're going to do 8 on this side, and drop and release, 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 and drop and release. And back on the other side, drop and release, and 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 drop and release. Excellent. So if that's enough challenge for you, awesome. That's really good going for a first class. If you want to try one more thing, actually whether you want to try one more thing or not, just to prove it can be done, and because I might be putting one of these in later on, we're going to do drop and lift, which is also a drop. If you take your foot off the ground, you can drop in this position. So we're going to do one on the ground and one in the air. If you need to hold on to a chair or a table or a bookcase or a hapless human being, grab them, and we're going to do one on the ground, one in the air, 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 one in the ground, one in the air, one on the ground, one in the air, one on the ground, one in the air. And changing sides, one on the ground, one in the air, one on the ground, one in the air, one on the ground, one in the air, one on the ground, one in the air. Okay, so should we go back to normal hip drops for a bit? So we've got drop and 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 change and drop 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 and change. 4s, drop and drop and drop and drop, change, drop and drop, drop and drop, change, drop and drop and drop and drop, change, drop and drop and drop and drop. 2s, drop and drop, change, drop and drop, change, drop and drop, change, drop and drop. And if you go to 1s, you get drop, 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 and it becomes quite a nice little move all on its own. So if you've got the hang of that, I'm going to put on some music and I'm just going to improvise a short dance using normal drops, drop release, maybe some drop lifts, and some changes of direction. If you are still trying to get the hip drop right, just do hip drops. I'm not there. I can't see. You could be anything right now. You could be an elephant eating a cheese sandwich and I would think you were taking this belly dance class. That's quite shocking. I'm going to put some music on. Okay. Release, 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 drop, release, drop, lift, drop, release, drop, lift, drop, drop, and change. Release, drop, lift, drop, release, and turn it all around. Drop, lift, drop, and change. And change. And change. Bring down. Can you do this? Okay, we got some good vibes. Hip drop. Drop, 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 drop. Drop, 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 release. Drop. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1. Drop, release, drop, lift. Release, drop. Drop, release, drop, lift. Drop, release, drop, and change. Release, drop, lift. Drop, release, drop. Drop, release, drop, lift. Drop, release, drop. Hips are coming forward if you can. And back. Make them really big. 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 And big. And big. Drop to release, drop to release, drop to release, and drop. Big. One big. 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 Drop to release, drop to release, drop to release, and drop. On the spot. And change. And change. Drop to release, drop, lift, drop to release, change. Drop to release, drop, lift, drop to release, change. Drop to release, drop, lift, drop to release, and change. Drop to release, drop, lift, drop to release, and change. Oops. And forward. And back. And forward. Yes, we did it! Okay, hopefully we managed all of that and the camera hasn't cut my head off because there's no way I'm filming this again. So, on to part 2. So, we have our hip drop, but although that made a pretty good dance on its own, normally you want a little bit more than a hip drop. So, we're going to add in a foot pattern. This is something called a grapevine step, and it's very, very easy. It's also easy to get it wrong if you think it's hard, so just relax and it'll come naturally. How the grapevine step works is like this. We go 1 foot in front of the other next to that foot, the 1 foot, behind the other and across, and the other next to that. And then this becomes your one foot going this way, across, together, behind, together, across, together, behind, together, across, together, behind, together. You can stretch out, style it out, make it pretty if you want to. So, for the choreography we're going to do in a little while, we have a set of almost 2 of those. So let's practice doing 2 that way and 2 that way. A little bit until we're all heartily sick of it and can get onto some proper dancing. Okay? And we're going across, together, behind, together, across, together, behind, together, across, together, behind, together, across, together, behind, together. As you can see, I'm having to take teeny tiny steps because this studio is actually a garage and it's pretty small. But here we go, starting from as far as I can on this side, we go across, together, behind, together, 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 across, together, behind, together. Okay. Hopefully you've got that sorted out, but in case you haven't, we'll do some just 1 in each direction and stop. So you've got time to take a breath. Okay? And we're going across, together, behind, together. I'm just extending my leg because it looks nice. You're under no obligation to do the same. Across, together, behind, together. Make them as big or as small as you want, depending on your space, because all it is across, together, behind, together, across, together, behind, together, across, together, behind, together, across, together, behind, together. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm doing these on my flat feet. You can also do them on the ball of the foot. It really just depends on the style of your dance, what you're doing, what fits with the music, and how fast you need to get to the next step. So we'll do a few on the balls of the feet, just so you can say you did. I'm going to shuffle forward a bit and probably cut my head off in the video. But here we go, and we go across, together, behind, together, across, together, behind, together, across, together, behind, together, across, together, behind, together. You have now learned, hopefully, 2 belly dance movements. So we're going to stop here, move into the choreography, and turn those into the start of the dance.